Unfortunately, I've got to talk about the same subject. If you see something or you suspect something, you need to say something. That's the rule for the Department of Child and Protective Services. My client's story is so friggin' awful, I can't use her name. Her name in the transcript is FM. She is 7 years old. She lives with her mother, drug addict, and her grandmother, and then some other dudes that her mother invites over to the house because she can get drugs if they can molest, rape, and sodomize a 7-year-old girl. That's the story of this case. It's even worse than that. Because before this started, the mother had been in other abusive relationships, had been reported to the Department of Children and Protective Services, and they were actually having social workers go out to the house on a monthly basis. And when they went out to the house, they would occasionally see dudes there and ask the mom, "Who's Louise?" "Oh, Louise is helping my mother." "Well, where is he living?" "Well, he's not living here, he just comes and works." I'm going to ask the 7-year-old, "Who's Louise?" "Well, Louise is kind of like an uncle. He likes to sleep next to me on occasion." Ask the grandmother, "Who's Louise?" "Ah, Louise helps me." That is what you call a reasonable suspicion that something's not right. Ask the mom, "Hey, what's the story with Louise? Does he have a record?" "No." "Is he a bad dude?" "No, he's a good guy." Then the social worker actually does some research and finds out that Louise is a convicted child molester. This is 2 years before this girl is repeatedly raped and sodomized for 2 years. The record says close to 14 or 15 guys in and out of the house. Those social workers did not follow the Child Abuse and Reporting Act, CONRA. You know what they did? They closed the file after talking to the mom and the grandma and the teacher and other people and decided that there was nothing going on. And the little girl, "No, he's nice, he's like an uncle." This is a true story that happened. So how did they find out? This little girl goes 2 years later to see her dad in New Mexico. And her dad has a girlfriend. And the girlfriend suspects something's not right with now 9-year-old. And she has her tested. And she finds out that this little girl has suffered unimaginably for 2 years. They immediately report it to the police. They arrest the mom. They arrest Louise and a bunch of the bad dudes. And they all go to jail. So what's the case? The case has a $1 million offer, $20 million demand against the social workers who have all kinds of immunities. Discretionary immunity, judgment immunity. We didn't know, we didn't suspect, we were told that they weren't doing, there was nothing going on. And David Ring and LOUANNE MASRY win that case for $45 million. $15 million in the past for emotional distress, and $30 million in the future for a girl that has to take 3 medications a day. She's now 15 years old, and she's going to have probably an awful life and has already been through hell, right? So they take that case to trial and they win that case for that girl. They get 45% responsibility on the County of Los Angeles. And more importantly, as a result of this case, the social worker training and all the rules that are involved in that changed. They changed because this little girl. They changed the law so that you can't come in and say, hey, I talked to everybody and even though the guy has a mattress next to her bed, I didn't report it. If you have any kind of suspicion, you have to do a mandatory reporting. That was the only box that they could use. You couldn't sue them for negligence, couldn't sue them for a discretionary immunity, right? And they found through that little box and found a little justice for a girl that has suffered beyond belief. And that's what makes me proud to be a lawyer.